What's up, everyone? All right, well, today is a red day recap. I'm bummed. I'm not happy about it. But you know what? It could be worse. It was 3 weeks ago today that I had my second biggest loss of my career. I was down $172,000. Over the last 3 weeks, I made back all of that loss. And even after today's loss, I'm still green on the month. And I'm really grateful for that. So today, I traded 3 different stocks. I went into the green on the first trade, went in further green on the second trade, and then on the third trade, flipped from green to red, and I took my hands off. I said, that's it. I'm not taking any more trades. And I didn't. That was it. That was it for me. So, I am bummed to finish in the red, but I also feel like today is an example of a successful red day. It is completely tolerable. It is well within I'm not even close to my max loss. It is a small red day. And so now if I come in tomorrow and we have some good opportunities, making back this loss is like, I'm not even gonna be thinking about it like that because it's so small, it'll be easy to recover from. The issue today was that I went red at 9:12. We only had 15 minutes, roughly to the opening bell, and we just ran out of opportunities. That was it. So let's jump onto the screen share and start breaking it down. VSEE. This is the stock I'm green on. This is the one that I made the most on, but I didn't trade it very well. Let's go back to 8 a.m. So I sat down here at 7 a.m. I sat down here at 7 a.m. And at 7 a.m., we didn't have anything that looked good on the scans. XHLD, lower price stock, grinding higher. FRGT had moved up after hours, had sold off. YMAP, this one had popped up and then dropped. We had, SBFM. This one popped up earlier and also rejected in a really kind of nasty way. I mean, it was like popped up and then flush all the way down. We had POLA, P-O-L-A this morning. This one popped up and then sold off. We had a bunch of stocks like that today. It was really tricky. And so I didn't take any trades. My first trade was at 9 a.m. on IPDN. So IPDN hits the scanner at 9 a.m. and I jumped on it right. Let's see. It was basically like right in here. It pops up, and on my first trade, it pops up, it drops down, and I lost $300 on it. Then I got back in as it curled back up, and I made, $1,200. I'm up $900 on it right now. So was not a particularly good trade. It did have news at the top of the hour. It's a 1.4 million share float. It was squeezing up. I bought the micro pullback. It just didn't open up. But I took this trade after VSEE. So VSEE, this one was on the scans earlier, and you can see it's 8.20. It started popping up at 70, 80 cents, pulled back, squeezed up to 80 cents, $1, up to $1.10, $1.15, $1.20. And I was like, I don't have any interest in this. And then all of a sudden right here, it breaks $1.40 and it goes all the way to 2.20, which it looks kind of small here. But at that moment, this was a ridiculous candle. I mean, to go from $1.40 to 2.20 is crazy on 7 million shares of volume. And I didn't trade it. I totally missed it. I wasn't even looking at the chart. And then all of a sudden it happened and I was like, whoa. I was like, well, that was crazy. But I looked at it and I said, that's probably going to be high a day. And I was wrong. I said, that's probably going to be high a day. Usually when you get a big topping tail candle like that, that's it. You sometimes get a wick reclaim and a double top, and that's about it. So I said, no, I'm not interested in that. So then 9 a.m., all of a sudden, IPDN hits the scanner. I switch, and I'm focusing on IPDN, and this thing breaks and goes all the way up to $4, and I missed it. Missed that entire move. Now, I got in down here. I bought a dip and got this pop back up here, which gave me a total profit of about $3,000. And it is what it is. I mean, whatever. It was a small trade that put me in the green. I had the trade on IPDN, and then I had this loss on OP. So after VSCE had made this big curl, I saw OP on the scans, and OP popped up initially right here. It dropped down, and as it rallied back up right here, I got in at $3 right here. This is a break of the whole dollar, and I was looking for that squeeze up to 315 and 350. And in my mind, I was like, max loss 290, right? Well, look at this thing. This is unbelievable. All of a sudden right here, it flushes down to 266, and I stopped out, and I got some slippage on my exit, and I was out at 250. So I ended up losing 50 cents a share on 20,000 shares. I lost 10,000 bucks. And, it could have been worse, but it wasn't great. And with that, I was like, well, now I'm down $6,600. And it's, nearly 9:15. So we're coming kind of the end of the window when I typically make the most money. What am I going to do? So VSEE, this one, I was like, should I look at this for a curl? I kind of watched it in this area right here. And I was like, you know what? The MACD is crossed over on the 1-minute chart. We're on the backside. Yes, it did pop back up, but it didn't trade that. I knew at the open we were going to have back-to-back halt levels. WKEY, this one's kind of grinding higher, but it's easy to borrow, slightly lighter volume, slightly larger spread. So I said, no, you know what? I said, it's just, and look at how fast that drops down to 1571. I said, it's just not worth it. You know what's going to happen? You already are obviously not having a great day. We haven't had a lot of momentum. We're not having a great day. I'm red. I have a disproportionate profit to loss ratio, or my average losers are far bigger than my average winners. Is today the day where I should keep trading? My statistics say no. My metrics, my performance from today says no. But my heart says yes. Why is my heart saying that? Because I'm sad that I'm red, right? I'm sad that I'm red. I want to make back the loss. So I'm like trying to convince myself maybe to take a couple more trades, maybe to stay a little longer. Maybe today's the day I put in, some extra hours here and I try to recoup the loss. It's a terrible idea. It's a bad idea. Today's not the day that I should take more risk. I was on the defense all morning, being very patient. I broke the ice, made a little money, started to step, and then immediately slammed back down. All right, that's not great. But hey, $6,500, $6,600, this is a tolerable loss. This is a successful red day as long as I walk away right here and I don't touch the keyboard anymore. And the only way to do that for me is to close everything down. I cannot keep looking. If I stay here and I keep watching the charts, and I see something starting to move, I'm gonna be tempted to jump in it. So discipline tells me that I know myself, I know I need to walk away and to shut everything down and get out and then just come back tomorrow. Now, when I sit down tomorrow, initially, I'm gonna be thinking, be defensive, right? The market was slow yesterday. It's been slow for a week and a half, whatever it is. Just be patient. Maybe something will pop up. And maybe tomorrow we'll have a nice move. Maybe I'll be able to build a cushion. Maybe this big move on VSEE, certainly squeezed out some short sellers. Maybe the dynamics will change a little bit tomorrow. Maybe the momentum will shift into the hands of the bulls. I don't know, but this was good to see. And so, I'm going to take that knowledge that happened going into tomorrow, look for other opportunities like it, but I got to trade good quality stuff. And it's not worth it to lower my quality standard just to try to recoup losses, because statistically, what that's likely to do is actually extend the drawdown and make the losses bigger. So yeah, it's not a great day. I'm not thrilled, just based on the fact that I'm red. But on the other hand, I could look at today as being a successful red day, a day where I've exercised discipline, where I walked away at the exact right moment. And you can't ask for much more than that. Trading is not about never losing. It's about losing with grace. It's about, being just accepting it, letting it kind of roll off your shoulders. And it's easier to do that when the losses are smaller. It's hard to do that when they get bigger. So, when they're small, that's when it's also easy to justify, I'll take a couple more trades. I'm not down that much. Next thing you know, you're down a lot more. So it takes time to get good at this, being able to walk away when it's not happening, but it's not happening right now. So the easiest thing for me to do is press that button right there, close it out. And now I'm going to close my broker right here. I'm going to close it out, and I am not going to look at any charts for the rest of the day. That's it for me. Now, if you're in a better position, you might be able to keep practicing in the sim. You might be able to stay in front of the charts, and that's awesome. Gain that experience, keep practicing. And for those of you guys that want to tune in, watching me live while I'm trading or checking out our classes, there'll be a link to our 2-week trial pinned to the top of the comments and in the description. So make sure you guys check that out. If you want to watch this class that I recently uploaded on stock selection or the top 5 reasons why most traders lose money, you can watch those episodes right there. All right, with that, I'll see you guys back at it first thing tomorrow morning.